simply deep learning we are going to talk about, and it is very important concept. When I have talked about the machine learning and artificial intelligence, I told that AI is the main branch. Then after that, the machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence, and deep learning is a subset of machine learning itself. That time in the starting, I told it. So now, when we talk about the like contents at what we are going to discuss today, so I will be starting with the like we will be discussing these things. So we will be talking about the introduction to deep learning, neural networks, the building blocks, that how the neural network is created, what are the phenomena behind it, the convocation, like simply the convolution neural network and recurrent neural network. These are the two different types. Then autoencoders, applications of deep learning, and these things like we are going to discuss in, like you can say, one by one we will discuss gradually. So let's start with the introduction to deep learning. So introduction to deep learning we are going to talk about, and now simply deep learning is basically subfield of machine learning. As I told before also, that deep learning is a subfield of machine learning, and it has revolutionized various industries by its ability to learn complex patterns from data. So that is the main thing which is different here, that deep learning actually is able to learn complex patterns, and it employs artificial neural networks. So there is a concept of neural networks with multiple layers, enabling it to capture intricate relationship and make accurate predictions. So there is a concept of neural network when we talk about deep learning. Okay, so that is the different thing as compared to the machine learning. So deep learning is a type of machine learning or a subset of machine learning that is used, like that uses the artificial neural networks to learn from data. And artificial neural networks are inspired by the human brain, and they can be used to solve a wide variety of problems, including image recognition, neural language processing, that is the NLP. You must have heard about NLP, and speech recognition, that all. So text to speech and all the automated AI tools which are in the market these days. Now, if I talk about the definition, so deep learning is a subset of machine learning that utilizes the artificial neural network with multiple layers to learn complex patterns. And these neural networks are loosely inspired by the structure and functions of the human brain, as I told, where interconnected neurons process the information. So there are the interconnected neurons which actually process the information. Now, if I talk about that, what are the key characteristics? So first of all, hierarchical representation. Here, basically, like deep learning models learn features at different levels of abstraction. Okay, different levels of abstractions are there, different layers are there, hierarchy is created. Then the lower layer extract basic features, while higher layer combines these features to learn more complex pattern. The lower layers extract the basic features, and higher layers combine these features to learn more complex patterns. And this hierarchical structure allows the model to capture intricate relationships in the data. Here you can see this way, like a image is there, you can see. So like hidden layers are there, like it is not three layers, there are multiple layers and number of layers in between. So suppose hidden layer, 16 hidden neural layers are there. Input, this is an example where the input is of 784, that is 28 into 28 neurons, each with value between 0 to 255. That is a total of 256. Usually this is a very common number when you are in a computer science field. So this way you can see that inside like input we are giving of 784, that is 28 into 28 neurons, and input we have then the 10 layers are like simply 16 layers are formed, 16 hidden layers are there, 16 layers are formed in between, and then the output is 10 classifiers of digit 10 digit, 10 classifiers of 10 digit for 10 digits. So in 10 digits the classifiers have been created, so it has been reduced also. Then simply the feature engineering is also a part of it. Like firstly, I told you hierarchical representation, and then I'm talking about the feature engineering. Okay, so when we talk about the feature engineering, so unlike the traditional machine learning models and methods that require manual feature engineering, in the machine learning also we were doing actually the manual feature engineering. Deep learning models can automatically discover relevant features from raw data. Like what we were doing in the time of machine learning, when we were working on the machine learning models, actually that was created by the data which we are giving. Now that data can be user defined. We have created it through some like patterns or something that we have downloaded, so someone else has created. But when we talk about the feature engineering in the case of the deep learning, so here the deep learning models can automatically discover relevant features. Now whatever automatic you can say patterns it is discovering, that a person will be knowing, okay, this is also you can say discovered out of this data. Okay, then you will note it down that okay, it is a kind of a research, you can say. So it is a processing, you can say feature engineering is the pre-processing step in machine learning that transforms raw data into more effective inputs. So by creating automated discoveries, it is basically giving us the input only in different manners, because there are multiple layers in between. So data into more effective input for the model to learn from. And you can say the goal is to improve the performance of machine learning algorithms by making the data easier for them to learn from. So here basically with the help of feature engineering, it is able to create more easier patterns, like one by one it will be you can say refined, and then the models will be automatically discovering new inputs. A pipeline will be hierarchical, will be created. Okay, so simply like the neural networks learns to extract the most informative features, reducing the need for the human expertise. Basically when we talk about the neural networks, so they learn to extract the most informative. So what is happening, like whatever data we have given, through that the information is getting extracted, and that information is actually created in such a manner that it is working as input for the further layers, reducing the need for human expertise. So human do not have to interfere. The human interventions will be minimum in the cleaning and processing of the data, you can say. So here you can see this is simply a diagrammatic representation where this is the raw data, then the discriminatives are created, and then simply the multiple layers are there. From this you can see like two symbols have been taken, this red and this like cross, you can say. So here these two are get created, and this input is now here. Previously this was a scattered data, then it is like linear regression kind of things are happening here, and the discriminative features has been taken out, and then multiple layers and number of layers are like, you can say from here it is starting, but in between these things are happening. Okay, like suppose this was our raw data, this is our raw data, and then it is coming like this is our output, you can say. So it is one diagrammatic representation, a small representation of it. Now, further, the next characteristic is large data set. Now, what is happening here? Like deep learning model typically require subs substantial amount of data to train effectively. So the need of the data is higher in the case of the deep learning models. What is happening in the time of machine learning, when we were working on the machine learning projects, that time the projects which we were using, or the data which we were like, it was at 100 200,000 data, that was also fine. But here if it is bigger than that, then also it will be more, you can say, beneficial for the project and for the refining. So the availability of the large data sets has been a driving force behind the success of deep learning in various applications. So when the data, when we are working on the deep learning model, it's necessary that the data should be large enough, because as large as the data will be, the processing of it will be becoming more, you can say, clear, crystal clear outputs will be obtained. Here you can see deep neural network architecture. Here one architecture is present in the diagrammatic representation. This is the input layer, this is the output layer. You can see how the hidden layers are working, multiple functionalities and processing are going on in between. So now if I talk about the deep learning architecture, so simply typical deep learning architecture consists of the following components: the input layer that receives the raw data as input, the hidden layers, these like hidden layers are actually multiple n number of layers of interconnected neurons that process the information and extract the features. Then simply the output layer. So output layer produces the final prediction or classification basically. So here you can see the diagrammatic representation of a deep neural network architecture with input, hidden layer and output. Every time it will be looking like this only, because here there will be n number of layers, and it's not so far necessary easier to represent it on a single slide or a paper. because internally a big process is going on, huge process is going on in multiple layers and number of layers, which are actually known as the hidden layer between the input and the output layers. Then the applications of deep learning, if I talk about, so deep learnings have been like simply successfully applied in various domains, including the computer vision, the image classification, object detection, image generation. I also talked about the OpenCV module, the OpenCV module we talked about, and the OpenCV module was simply, if you remember, it was, I told you, computer vision module only. So simply, like, there are different computer vision modules. If I talk about the computer vision modules in Python, so simply OpenCV is not one of it, like it is one of it, but there are many. Like Glib is also there, Pillow is also there, Scikit-image is there. In the Scikit-learn, there is a Scikit-image also. TensorFlow and Keras also have the capabilities of the image classification and all. Then Simple CV is there, PyTorch, Torch Vision. There are many. Then simply the neural language processing. Now the natural language processing, NLP, that is natural language processing. So simply the machine translation, text summarization, and sentiment analysis kind of projects are actually coming in that particular category. And actually, I told you that deep learning is a subset of machine learning. So we do not actually have to work separately on such projects. When we are making a big, or you can say, an in-depth project of machine learning, ultimately we are diving deep into the deep learning only. Like simply these kind of projects I have given you, related to OpenCV I have given you, related to sentiment analysis, and all kind of projects we talked about. And I have given also two different interns, speech recognition and all, text to speech, speech to text, voice assistant. In the healthcare, the medical image analysis like lung cancer detection, breast cancer detection, or simply different diseases and drug discoveries are taken care in the case of this. Autonomous vehicles, so object detection like face mask detection, or simply the helmet detection, and retina scanning and biometrics and all. Self-driving cars. So these are some examples of it. Now the second part which comes here, that is the neural network. So the building blocks. Now the, like, perceptron, the basic unit it is. So perceptron is the fundamental unit of the neural network. And it's a simple model that takes a set of inputs, applies weight to each input, sum the weight input, and then passes the results through an activation function to produce an output. So this is the functionality internally, you can say. Like in the perceptron, what is happening? The fundamental unit of the neural network it is, and which is a sample model that takes a set of inputs. Okay, applies the weight to each of it. So here the mathematical function is there. Like you can say a vector of values like x equals to x1, x2 to xn we have taken. So these are like simply the input which is coming. Then the weights could be like suppose w1, w2 to till wn we have taken. And then simply the weighted sum. So weighted sum will be like this. Suppose z equals to w1 into x1, w2 into x2, and wn into xn. This way. So the activation function will be y equals to fz, function of z, where f is the non-linear function. Like you must not be knowing, or you are knowing, I don't know, the ReLU and the sigmoid and tan h. So these are like simple, mathematical functionalities. You must have heard about it before. Now, simply here you can see this is also like a diagrammatic representation of it. Okay, so now moving further, now multi-layer perceptron, that was simply single, and this is multi-layer. So simply an MLP, that is the multi-layer perceptron, is a like neural network composed of multiple layers of perceptrons, where the multiple layers of perceptrons are taking place. So each layer's output become the input to the next layer. It is the kind of pipelining which is going on. And this stacking of layers allow the MLPs to learn complex non-linear relationship between the input and the output. So the key components here could be like input layer, obviously that receives the external data. So the data which we are feeding to the system, feeding to the model. Then hidden layers, so process information and extract features. Hidden layers are doing the same again and again, because these are the hidden layer which are actually taking the output of one, you can say, set to another set as the input. Then simply the like output layer that produces the final prediction. Okay, so this way. Now the next thing which comes into the picture, here you can see, first of all, this is like you can say diagrammatic representation of it. Now moving further, now here you can see the activation function. So activation function introduce non-linearity into the network and enabling to to learn the complex patterns. It is actually created the activation functions. So the common activation functions are rectified linear unit, that is the ReLU, as I told you. Okay, rectified linear unit, that is the function fx equals to max 0x. Then simple and computational efficiency. So computationally efficient which function is, that is actually taken care. It avoids and simply vanish the gradient problem. So here you can see this is one diagrammatic representation of it. Now here the activation function, this is the second one. Okay, this is the second one, the common activation function. So that is second one, that is the sigmoid, and this is the expression for the sigmoid with the graphical representation of it, which gives the output between the 0 and 1 and commonly used in the output layers for classification task. Then the next one is the hyperbolic tangent, that is tan function, tangent tan. So it is here hyperbolic tangent. This is the function. Now the next one, simply the choosing, next thing is that choosing the right activation function, that how you are going to choose the right activation function. So the hidden layers, that is the ReLU, or is often a good choice. Okay, it is good choice to its computational efficiency and ability to avoid the vanishing gradient problem, because this is the capability of it. If I talk about this one, that is the hyperbolic tangent, so it is often used in the hidden layers. Then if I talk about the previous one, that is simply the common activated function, that is the rectified linear unit. Okay, this is the one. And the second one was this sigmoid. So sigmoid simply commonly used in the output layer for classification. Okay, sigmoid is used in the output layer, and rectified ReLU, rectified linear unit, is used to avoid the vanishing gradient problem, and simple and computationally efficient it is. This is in the output layer, and the third one is the is the one which is used in the hidden layers. So obviously you can understand that when which one has to be used, it's already written here. So you have to make this for the hidden layers. Now output layer, and I will be just showing you one diagram actually here that is not present. So the classification is simply the sigmoid, that is for binary classification, or softmax for multi class classification. So sigmoid is for for the binary classification. Binary means two functions will be there, and for multi classification, softmax. Then the regression, like neither activation or no activation function you can use. After this, the convolutional neural networks, that is the CNN. You must have heard about it before. Now the convolutional neural networks, that is the CNN, for the image recognition, if we are using, this is a use case kind of. So simply the convolutional neural networks are type of deep learning architecture, because there are different neural networks when we talk about the deep learning architecture, and it is one of it. It's specifically designed for processing and analyzing the image data. When you are analyzing, you are working on the image data, that time the CNN is used. This is a very deep problem, you can say, people face, that they don't understand that which particular model or which particular algorithm is actually going to be used in particular scenario or particular project. So I'm just trying to discuss some use cases in such a manner that you will be able to decide that which algorithm has to be used for what particular purpose. Now, simply the key components of the convolutional neural network, that is CNN. First one is the convolutional layers. So input we will be giving, so it receives the input image as a tensor. Tensor is simply a multi-dimensional array. Filter applies filters, also known as kernels, to the input image. Okay, filters will be applied when you are working on the image recognition or image processing type of project. So simply the filters will be definitely applicable. Then the feature map. So it creates feature maps by sliding the filters across the image and performing element wise multiplication, like in some you can say lung cancer, brain tumor detection kind of projects. When the images are taken as the data set, There also the images are taken as the data set. So that time we have to process it in the same manner as it is written on the screen, you can say. Like multiple filters are applied to check that, okay, what kind of issue is present in the CT scan, because those images are actually of the CT scan. When you go for a lung cancer, breast cancer, brain tumor, or any these kind of diseases where the multiple images are taken as the data set that time. And activation function, so applies the activation function, for example, ReLU, to introduce non-linearity. Now here you can see convocational layer in CNN, how it is getting represented. It is like car driving example has been taken, you can see. Car, truck, van, simply it will be checking everything, no, in the car, the number plate, the person is sitting using belt or not, and all those kind of things. So multiple layers will be processing all those things one by one. Now the key components of the CNN. Second one is pooling. So downsampling, so it reduces the spatial dimensions of the feature map. Downsampling, it reduces the spatial, space related, okay, spatial dimension, geographical dimensions of the feature map. Then perceives important information, so it focuses on the most prominent features. It perceives the important information, so it focuses on the more prominent features. Now simply the types, so like pooling I was talking about, downsampling. So downsampling perceives important information, this is the second point. And the types is simply the maximum pooling, and it takes the maximum value in a region. Average pooling takes the average value in a region. Simple. Two types of poolings are there in the layer which is happening. So here you can see this way, max pool condition. Max pool will be reducing it to the max, obviously. See, why we are doing this all? We are doing this all because we want the best crystal clear solutions when we are analyzing something, analyzing some data, when we are analyzing some data, okay. So now the third one is the fully connected layer. This is the third key component of the CNN. So flattering, classification, and output. So flattering simply converts the feature map into one-dimensional vector. Flattering, as the name implies, flatten function is also present if you remember in the Python programming, because you have done the Python programming. So with the Python, you must have learned the flatten function, and the flatten function is simply used for converting the multi-dimensional array to one-dimensional. And when you are talking about images, when you are talking about the computer vision or OpenCV even, so there the images are present and images are in the two-dimensional, and the images are actually handled with the NumPy module, and the NumPy module matrices are used there. I hope you are able to imagine. So when you are simply having those matrices which are in the two dimension, the image is in the two-dimensional format, and then it is converted to the 1D. So that is flattering. Then the classification. So use fully connected layers to classify the extracted features, and the output process the final output. Typically a probability distribution. Okay. Typically the probability distribution will be taking place. Now, simply here you can see class A, class B, class C. So this is like simply you can say fully connected layer in the CNN. So this way you can see that fully connected layer was present. This is a softmax layer and this is the flattened layer. Here the classes are present. There the classes are not present actually. So this softmax will be, I told you about it in the previous slides. Softmax is basically one activation function, as I told you. So what does the softmax activation function do exactly? It transforms the raw output of the neural network into the vector probabilities. Essentially a probability distribution over the input classes. And it considers a multi-class classification problem with n classes. Okay, with n classes. The ReLU function which is there. So ReLU and softmax are activation functions in deep learning itself. Now, when I talk about the flatten function, I have already discussed it, that how it is actually converted into one-dimensional. Now, if I talk about the applications of the CNN, that is the computer vision in computer vision. So object detection. So identifying the objects like car, vehicles, you can say, and simply presence. Okay, presence of anything is object detection. Presence of anything in CCTV camera. Okay, presence of anything is object detection. So it locates and classify objects within the image. and bounding boxes, draw bounding boxes around the detector. It draws the objects, sorry, boxes there. Face recognition and all, if you have seen this way. So it identified that, okay, some object is present there, and it will be even able to identify that which particular object is there according to the data which has been already provided to it for the training purposes. Then the image segmentation. So pixel level segmentic segmentation and instance segmentation. So pixel level classification and semantic segmentation and instance segmentation. So pixel level classification simply assigns a class label to each pixel in an image. This is the first step. Then simply the semantic segmentation classifies the pixel based on the semantic, like what is there in that car, person, road, that will be identified to those labels. It will be assigned. Then instance segmentation identifies and segment individual instances object. So it will be able to understand that, 4 cars are present, 5 bikes are present, 3 dogs are present. So how many instances are there? That will be identified. Here you can see brain tumor detection kind of image segmentation using CNN. So here it will be able to add like multiple layers will be there. The multiple processing will be going on, data processing. It takes time, a lot amount of time and processing powers are required for it. So MRI or CT scans kind of images will be present like this. I was talking about it. So here you can see this will be firstly identified. Okay, this is the whole box is created. Then this will be identified. Then this all segment. And where the problem will be there, that will be segmented at the end, because what purpose we are using it for, that is the issue. Maybe the tumor in the brain. Okay.